All right.
We're behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. Then when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. If we do that, we'll be all right.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Football University. Yes, this is a spooky edition for all you all who are getting ready for Halloween, trick-or-treating. We're going to give you a treat tonight. Shouts out to the student section. This is the station, the show, where we talk anything and everything football-related. NFL, Alabama, college football, all the other conferences. We cover it here at Football University. And yes, we found a way to bring it back to the University of Alabama. And we all know Alabama coming off the bye week. It's LSU week, so we're going to get into that. So RTR to all the Bama Nation, get all your friends. Shouts out to the student section here tonight. Y'all are rolling. Shouts out to I Am One. What's up? Stephen Hicks says, yes, it's LSU week. Let's get things started. So let's get them in. Let's talk everything. I am your de facto professor. Like I said, we got a big show tonight. Getting ready for the LSU week showdown versus LSU this weekend. We're going to discuss things. Alabama coming off the bye week. Some things Coach Saban said today. Jalen Miro, etc. Things I think they worked on in the past. And, we're going to talk about Tommy Rees, the defense, offense, special teams. We're going to cover it all. So, shouts out to the student section. Shouts out to Stephen Higgs. B. Jammin said, roll tide, y'all. So, I see we already shots fired. Shouts out to Jeff Stapleton says, yes, LSU hate with the revenge. Plus, it's our house. Roll tide. And let's start right then and there. Let's talk about this LSU. First, let's talk about please hit that like, subscribe button. This is what we do here at the CTS-Sports room. But Alabama had their bye week last week, coming off the big victory versus the UT Volunteers. And we said volunteers, tears. They were actually crying because of all the penalties, so-called. I mean, that has nothing to do with you not scoring 27 points in the second half. But that's neither here nor there. So we know Alabama got some much-needed rest. Heard some guys talking about like Deontay Lawson said, it was a bye week, got rest, but he was still focused, locked in. Heard Jalen Miro was still locked in. So I know these guys are focused. They just coming off an 8-game stretch. Come playing against, A&M, Tennessee, all those teams. So, but Arkansas. But like I said, this is LSU week, and I think we worked on some things improvement-wise for the off week. Got some guys healthy. That's what Coach Saban mentioned, and I think we improved on some fundamentals coming off the bye week, and I think we're gonna keep it rolling this week for the second half of the season. It's spooky season. We know things are starting to get cooler, starting to get colder. So that's going to bring me to my first topic, which is Alabama offense, which I think things they have to be ready for when it comes to playing this high-power LSU offense led by Jaden Daniels. Let me get into the defensive side, but listen, just looking at an LSU week, I mean, it's just one of those games. Me personally is always my favorite game. Playing LSU is just love it, whether it's in Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa is always my favorite game. So playing at Alabama, this is one of the games you really get up for. You hear the dun 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 dun, hold 'em Tiger. It goes on, but let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about what I think Alabama needs to improve on. Obviously, offensive line. I think we kind of shored up, got some more confidence, especially from Caden Pryor coming off that LSU week. But we know LSU presents a lot of challenges with Sertain Perkins. They kind of move him around. He's kind of their best player. I know he played inside linebacker last year, but they can kind of move him some of everywhere. Their secondary is a little bit iffy, but they're going to have enough guys to play holistically as a whole to be effective in this game. Their front seven is going to be very good. So I think things we need to continue to improve on moving forward, especially for the second half of the season. Continue to get, still be basic, offensively, but we need to get creative in the playbook. Really, I think we're going to be creative versus LSU and really show some things versus LSU that they might not have seen on film or things like that. I think Saban and Reese have been holding out the playbook leading up to this game because this game, it means so much. We got a lot riding on it with the SEC West. College football playoffs moving forward. But, like I said, each week we got to stack wins, be 1-0 each week, 1-0 each week, continue to have that hunger. But, yeah, I think we're going to get creative, but still get simple. Keep it simple. We're going to try to run the ball, control the clock. We need to be explosive at times, but we still need to get creative offensively. And like I said, my next point, we must run the ball, especially when you're playing an opponent like Jaden Daniels, who's so explosive. LSU has the number one offense in the country. I think they're averaging maybe 48 some points, averaging 44, 48 points in college football. So yeah, they have a really top offense, but I think it's important we can control the tempo, control the clock, really put pressure on them, especially them coming in our house. So we must run the ball. We must get creative offensively, and obviously don't turn the ball over. With that creativity, I think we can have more design QB runs, more tempo. I think all of this is going to be shown Saturday. But let's take a pause. Let's go to the section. So I know y'all are rocking and rolling, so let's go. B. Jamin says, forget those LSU Tigers. That's what I say. RTR. Let's see. Shouts out to Lori Caddell. Listen, he says, Matt, what do you think about the UGA and Florida game? Listen, I'm gonna come back to that real quick. I'm gonna start with the Bama real quick. I'm gonna come back to that. Bama got to get real for the handle business this Saturday. Yeah, Alabama's big trend phrase is going on and standing on business. Alabama got to stand on business. Alabama needs to bring out the black Air Force Ones versus LSU. We need to have a whole different swag, a whole different demeanor. Yeah, we owed it to Tennessee last week, week before last. Now this is part 2 of the revenge factor. And yes, I'm gonna say it again. Mentally, we need to take it personal, just like the whole, the last dance. From here on out, each week, we need to be taking it personal, especially with LSU. Some of the things Brian Kelly has mentioned in the offseason, always mentioning Alabama, the way we lost last year in Baton Rouge, not playing Alabama style defense, uncharacteristic loss at the end of the game to Jaden Daniels with the big time run. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We got to take it personal. We got to be locked in and focused and have that mentality because this is the game and go out there and dominate. I think Alabama, not only do we need to play the game, but we don't need to be playing the game anymore. We need to be dominating the game. We need to be imposing our will for 4 quarters. I think we need to be doing that starting versus LSU because that's from here on out, from LSU, then to Kentucky, then the UTC, then to Auburn. We need to be able to impose our will versus teams moving forward. We need to have that type of mentality for 60 minutes and then dominate, dominate, dominate. So, yes, Alabama needs to stand on business, handle their business. They need to bring out the Black Air Force Ones versus LSU and stay locked in because we need to jump on these boys and handle and impose our will. Stephen Hicks says, this is the game Alabama needs to step up and show out. I believe they are. I think Alabama's focused. I mean, I hear Coach Saban talk about the mindset, the demeanor. I think Coach Saban's able to put his, psychological magic on the team, keeping these guys laser focused, hyper focused on the task at hand each week, getting better, improving. We got guys healthy. I think he's got the coordinators, the coaching staff. Like I said, I think you're gonna see, Tommy Reese kind of expand on that playbook. I think it's all been leading up to this LSU game. So I'm ready for that. So he said LSU fans gonna be ready to fire Kelly after this weekend. You listen, I hope so. Listen. I think Alabama can look at the Florida State game. It might be competitive for the first half, but Florida State really jumped on them in the second half. You got to look at the Ole Miss game, how they played. Playing, I think, almost going into overtime. I believe it was a shootout. But yeah, I think you look at Kevin Steele, his defense, things. I think they put a lot out there. So before I get to the defense, let's go to the student section. Let's see. Brian Green says left tackle is spooky. Left tackle is spooky, but I'm having a lot more confidence in Caden Proctor. This is 9 games into the season. So he's played probably the top, probably some of the top defensive ends he's probably going to see. Tennessee had one, number 27, I believe. Obviously, the Texas A&M front four is one of the top in the country. He went he got the guy from Arkansas. So, what I do think was going to happen, I do think LSU is going to try to move him around, and try to get quick pressure on him. But I think he's more seasoned. He's gotten fundamentally better where he's able to, make sure to get his technique sound and be able to shore up that that left tackle position. So, yeah, so let's listen, Stephen Hicks is ready to go. He says LSU's starting to fight. Bama's going to finish it. Yeah, we definitely need to finish it. So shouts out to Linda P in the building. Roll Tide, roll Tide, roll Tide. B Jammin says, Reese releases the Kraken mirror on these QB run, make those corn dogs quit. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. I think not only is that important, but I think we need to just be creative offensively, really confuse those guys, and what they want to do defensively. I think it all centers around Sertain Perkins. Their front seven is kind of their core, but Sertain Perkins, I accidentally said Perkins, but Sertain Perkins, he's kind of their guy. He's, all SEC inside linebacker, probably all SEC this year. But they're putting him more at the defensive end position, which, I think we could do a lot. That's why I think it's important. We run the ball. Like, we need to have different creative runs, whether it's QB runs, design runs, have different sets, communications, jet sweeps, all that stuff. Really confuse this personnel. I'm big on pistol heavy. I mentioned if Reese, if he wants to unleash the offense, kind of look at some of the things Miami Dolphins are doing. Kind of look at things what Kyle Shanahan's doing with, i.e. Deebo Samuel. Look at how they use him in the backfield, certain situations. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles offense. How they do different things, jet sweeps, all that. So just get creative, and I think I'm looking for our running game to really be dominant versus the LSU Tigers. So let's stay in the student section. So Jeff Stapleton says, keep Daniels in the pocket and make him one-dimensional. QB pressure, make him make mistakes. Yeah, I believe that is key. We've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. And I'm going to shift to the defense because that's what I love about the student section. I talked about offensively how, we need to get creative, run the ball, do more QB runs, kind of add some tempo. I know that's one thing that LSU likes to do. They, they're quick to run plays, kind of try to check. They love to try to check defenses on their heels. But luckily, one thing we've got going for us, we played Tennessee, who's probably the fastest offense in the nation, especially in the SEC. I think they were at 2 plays per 40 seconds. So yeah, I think we're pretty sound on tempo. One thing we do got to do, we got to be able, I think is important for our defense and our front four. Our front four's got to eat. We're going to be hearing about this high-powered offense each week. Their number one defense, Jaden Daniels. Alabama's only a 3.5-point favorite, which I think is a little bit disrespect. I think Alabama needs to use that as motivation. Like I said, I think people are still out there kind of iffing. They're thinking, Alabama's, they're going to find a way. But I think we need to, especially defensively, as good as Alabama's defense have been going against Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, Tennessee, all these offenses, I still think they're going to hear so much about Jay Daniels' high-powered offense, them being number one. I think they're going to be internally motivated to really get after these guys. And I think you really look at that front four. You really look at, Jaheim Otis, Tim Keenan, Turner, Braswell, Payne, that front four, that front seven. I'm really focused on the front four led by Freddie Roach. I think these guys can really make a statement versus LSU and just dominate their offensive line. Dominate. I'm talking about we need to be in maybe 8 sacks, 6+ sacks with ease versus Jaden Daniels, showing our athletic ability, showing how to affect him, confusing him, keeping him uncomfortable in the pocket. And we got to be able to stop the run. QB draws, that's a big play that they love. Whenever they're going empty, 9 times out of 10, it's a QB run, QB draw. We just got to go attack. We know he's an athletic, elusive runner. So, we've got to be prepared. So I'm looking at the front four to really come, kind of, they hear all the noise, especially the defense. They hear how awesome this offense is, yada, yada, yada. They're the best thing since sliced bread. I think they're looking to be motivated and really prove how dominant. I mean, what kind of if you're a defensive player, you wouldn't want to play in a better game than this going against a top offense in LSU and Jane Daniels. So we got to stop Jane Daniels' QB runs. We got to stop Diggs, the running back. He's a really good deep running back. How they like to do, run the zone read option with those guys. Kind of get the running game going. He's really good downhill runner. He's pretty effective. But you got to stop Jay Daniels. I mean, he's probably guy's probably going to New York for the Heisman. So we've got to be able to stop the run, stop Daniels. And out wide, they have a really good offensive scheme. I watched them early in the year. Brian Thomas, the receiver, who they like to run, different, a lot of deep balls, especially in the red zone, a lot of go balls playing with him. Obviously Neighbors, the receiver, they like to kind of do little intermediate routes. Taylor, the tight end, they like to do some things. I think Lacey, another receiver, they really like to do some things. But yeah, it all starts with Jaden Daniels. We've got to get to Jaden Daniels and be effective and lock down everybody else. So I think this secondary is going to be challenged. I mean, you look at Trey Amos, Turner. That was Trey Amos, Terry Arnold, Kool-Aid. I'm looking for Kool-Aid to have a big game. Caleb Downs, Jaden Key, Malachi Moore. I think these guys are going to be locked in, keying on what they're trying to do, because this is one of those most exciting games. Listen, I wish I was playing. I'm talking to all my former players, and they're like, man, this LSU game always gets us going. It's one of our favorite games. So let's take a pause right there. We talked about the defense, offense, how we got to stop, especially defensively, we got to stop, everything Jay Daniels like to do, the QB draw. And I think us having to play Tennessee, having to play Arkansas, having to play Joe Milton, kind of an athletic running quarterback. He ran a lot of quarterback draws. I think that helped prepare us. And B, having to play KJ Jefferson in that offense, a guy who can throw it, run it, who can do it all. I think those kind of games have kind of lead up to us having great preparation, great focus, and great execution to play Jane Daniels on Saturday down in Bryant-Denny. So let's go to the student section. Oh man, y'all have been ripping and rolling. Let's see. Shouts out to Sam. He says, "What's up, Matt? What's up to Bama Nation? What's up, Sam, man? RTR." Let's go to a first question. Brian Green, do you think Saban will run more man coverage to put pressure on Daniels? I don't know. We do run a lot of man, but we do run some zone. I think it's going to be, it's just going to depend on, how the flow of the game, what they're trying to do offensively with Jaden Daniels. Maybe it can be more zone, but we're usually a man team regardless. We might mix up some coverages and do those things. But for the most part, I think we're gonna, our defense is gonna look the same. I think it's gonna be, like I said, our defense is gonna look the same, but I think it's gonna be important. Our front four, if our front four, listen, this is the game. You talking about making money, going to the NFL, having legendary performances. You go back to the LSU game where we played Zach Menberg. I think we sacked Zach Menberg like 8 times. We need to have that type of dominant front four versus Jaden Daniels, being able to get to him, affect him, stop the run. We got to stop the run like the Alabama defense versus LSU when they shut down Fournette, so it's going to be that type of game. And I think also another motivating factor, they're going to be talking about Jane Daniels. Everybody's talking about how good Jane Daniels is. Oh, he's so amazing. Nobody's talking about Jalen Milroe. I think Jalen Milroe can use that as internal motivation and really go out there and show the world how much improved he really is on his, footwork, ball security, getting us in the right play, continue to work on the zone read. I still think he still needs to continue to improve on making that right zone read option. But I think it's going to come with time. I think Milroe's eternally motivated. He's heard so much, just from our own fan base in general. But, everybody's going to talk about Jane Daniels is a better quarterback on the field. There, a lot of pundits going to give them the advantage because of Jane Daniels. So I think, obviously Tommy Reese he's motivated going against his former boss. So, it's exciting. I think we got a lot of motivating factors to go out there and execute. So, but to answer your question, Matt, which linebacker would you pick to spot Daniels? The spy Daniels. I mean, I don't even. Man, this is my thoughts. I mean, obviously, I like both linebackers. Obviously, Deontay Lawson and Jahai Campbell. They can do a lot of things, but I think the perfect game plan for me is our front four handles it all. Like they rush, they beat the blocks, they stop the run. That's why I said I'm putting so much onus on our front four. And I take an example. You look at you look at how the Philadelphia Eagles, their defense last year isolated a lot of running style quarterbacks just by rushing forward. I mean, they had Hassan Reddick, defensive end. I'm looking at the front four to really handle these guys up front, and we can always put a spy on him third down situations, but he's such an effective passer and is such an effective runner that, we don't want to lose anybody in coverage, but I'm quite sure Kevin Steele, Coach Saban know how to handle that. But I think it's important that, we get pressure. Our front four needs to be dominant like they were versus A&M, because it always plays, especially being dominant for 60 minutes. Once we jump on these guys, we need to jump on them and put them in the ground. Don't give them no hope, no anything. It is what it is. We got to impose our will on teams moving forward. And like I said, it all works hand in hand offensively. We got to be able to run the ball, have creative runs, have easy runs that gives us 4-6 yards chunks, ahead of the sticks, where we can just control the clock, especially in the second half, that third, fourth quarter. We get on it, we get rolling, we can control the clock, middle of the game, and get up out of here, with a great victory. So, yeah, I'm looking, I'm confident in both linebackers, Lawson and Jahai Campbell, but you never know, might do some things with Malachi Moore. It is what it is. I'm saying, I'm highly confident in Coach Saban and Kevin Steele, their game plan. I think we can come out there and just be base. You look at, that's why I'm putting the onus on the D line. I think Freddie Roach is going to have these guys coming because they're hearing so much about the number one offense. Nobody's talking about them, and these guys are going to be motivated. So I need them to go out there and execute on Saturday at 6:45 at Bryant-Denny. So, yeah, let's go. Y'all are ripping and rolling. Linda P has a great comment. She says, listen, after Saturday, we'll be saying Campbell is good. I like that. Like Campbell soup. I like that a lot. Justin Summerlin, shouts out to Justin Summerlin. He says, listen, I believe this will be our statement game. Put college football on notice. We're coming. Yeah, I think it's spooky season. It's that time of the year. It's starting to get cold. The second half of the season, that's why I think everything's been leading up to this offensively. If you've been a fan of the show, you've heard me say that, people have been saying, why does the offense look so bland? And I said, listen, I think it's been by design. We've put out different carrots or nuggets out there for teams that when we play them, we kind of throw them off guard. But I think you're really going to see a really kind of an open up, really creative playbook versus LSU. I think Coach Saban knows that this guy's the GOAT. He's the GOAT he's not the GOAT for just no reason. He knows how teams are game planning. You even look at the NFL. Most teams aren't scoring all those many points as they were at the beginning of the year because teams have gotten so much film. They know how to stop them in so many schemes. But, yeah, you look at Alabama, we really haven't shown much. We've been quite persistent. We've been, if you want to say, Blaine, we really haven't opened up. Now we can really open up the playbook, obviously, versus LSU, and I think we're going to do that. So, yeah, so let's I think this will be our statement game. Justin Summers says full 60 domination. Yeah, we need to impose our will for 60 minutes. So Alabama is the Alabama. So let's go, man. Y'all are rocking and rolling. So many great comments in here. Shouts out to Van Thor Edwards. That guy's a rock star. So let's go to this one. We need to shut them out like Burrow's first year. There was. Yeah, we do. We need to shut them down. Like I said, it's gonna be our defense we gotta have, just full in, locked in execution, especially on the defensive end when you have such an explosive quarterback. Jane Daniels, Diggs at the running back position, a good tight end, and Taylor, Brian Thomas, Anthony Anderson, who else? Lacey, Neighbors. They got a really good explosive offense. So I think it's going to be a challenge for us up front, our front seven, as well as, our secondary. I think our secondary has been prepared for this, having to go against, playing Texas receivers, playing A&M's receivers, playing Tennessee's receivers, playing who else? Arkansas. We've kind of been playing Ole Miss's offense, so I think we're ready, and I think the guys are going to hear so much about the number one offense. I think they might take it as a little disrespect, saying, "Listen, we're going to show y'all how to play defense and that show you the Alabama style defense." Let's stay in the student section. Y'all are rocking and rolling. Sam says Bama must stop the run, get turnover or two, and get off the field. On and all defense, control the clock, run the football, get ahead. Yeah, that's what get the sticks of the football. Yeah, we need to be explosive. We need to take our shots at explosive, but if we can, we can jump on them early, and continue to control the clock, continue to, have explosive plays and when necessary. I love our chances. You know, it need to be a methodical, explosive run, dominate, explosive run, dominate, explosive run, dominate. I think we're gonna be in that bag. I think Tom Reese is gonna be in this bag. I think Coach Saban, I think they got a lot up their sleeves. So let's go. Let's see, we got a lot of Georgia talk. So who's this asking about Georgia? Tom Reed, I guess. Yeah, Tom Reed, I guess he's the big Georgia fan. Yeah, Georgia had a big game versus Florida. You know, Florida jumped out 7-0. And next, you know, I looked up, it was 26-7. I was like, oh, Georgia's. But yeah, I mean, Georgia, I was interested to see how they're going to play without, you know, Brock Bowers, but they were able to fill that void, you know, with Lad McConkey, you know, still kind of keep the concepts kind of, you know, what they like to do. But yeah, so Georgia, they did that thing. I think they have Missouri for the SEC East. I think if Missouri wins, they might go to Atlanta. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So, but yeah, I think that game comes on at 3:30, well, 2:30 before our game. But at the end of the day, it's all about Alabama over here. We're focusing on LSU. We ain't even got time to think about Georgia. So shouts out to the Dogs fans, Tom Reed in here. But yeah, Beck is doing his thing. Beck is doing his thing, you know, despite you know, not having Brock Bowers. So it is what it is. So yeah, yeah, Van Edwards has a great comment right here. It says, should we roll the pocket, have a running back help on the front edge, maybe some snaps, maybe some smash, move, etc., might help the O-line and safety second guessing. Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. Like I said, to your point, Van Edwards, I think we're all saying the same things. I think you're going to see more of a opened up playbook, more of a creative playbook. I think we're going to do some things personnel wise. I think you're going to see a lot of more, you know, just ball movement on the edge. One thing I do want Jalen Milroe to really improve on is continue to carry his play fakes out. If he hands the ball off, just don't stand there. Run, run, do a great acting job. Try to win you an Oscar. Act like you have the ball because that little movement, that little hesitation can open up so much from the running game. So Jalen Milroe, if you listen to Football University, listen, carry out your play fakes when you hand the ball off. That's going to help our offense move that much more effectively. Like, the great quarterbacks do that. They do the little things. You look at Jaden Daniels, he does that. You look at most of the quarterbacks in the Heisman race, they're working, do those little things to really help their offense work. So I do think we, move the pocket to your point. Van Edwards, move the pocket, jet sweeps, counters, everything. I think while at the same time being basic, so we're going to see if they can try to stop us up the middle and just pound games, see if they can stop these our big offensive line handle that. So it's going to be interesting to see. So let's stay in this. Tom Reed said, thank you for shutting out the Tennessee fans. I salute you. I mean, let's stay. Since we talked about Florida, Georgia, they played. Georgia finished. The game was 43-20, but I know Tennessee played Kentucky. I know we got Kentucky week after next. Tennessee was able to pull out that victory. Auburn, who we got down the line, they pulled up a lot of points in the first half, so it was like they're starting to get some things going. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about Alabama LSU right now. The whole college football world is going to be glued on Alabama LSU. But don't sleep on this. Listen, Missouri's no joke. Luther Burden, they got a lot of offensive weapons, but I don't know if they have the defense. And that game's in Athens. It's going to be interesting to see. So, but you never know how they're going to play it. But yeah, I like I said, I think Alabama will be focused on Georgia when times come. Right now, we're just focusing on LSU and stopping Jay Daniels and dominating these guys for 60 minutes. So, Justin Summers says our defense is ready to shut Jaden Daniels down. I think that, like I said, it's going to be a statement game. Woo, y'all are rocking and rolling. Oh, so let's talk about special teams. Great comment right here. By James Knight. He says Bond has got to be better than Kool-Aid. I could have stood back there and pointed. Especially with I think it's some controversial calls just going around college football. I think I don't know if it's Purdue or Iowa. A player was pointing Peter, and I guess he caught it, and he ran it back, but they called it they said he was calling fair catch. So, I do think Kool-Aid just needs to stay calm. I just think the first thing Kool-Aid can do at punt return is feel the punt, see the punt off the foot of the kicker, and just feel the punt, get some fair catches in. During the game, having good technique. A lot of times when he's catching it. He's not having his his catching it with his upright leg, bringing it in the bag basket. So yeah, if he could just work on it, continue to fill in those punts, get some fair catches in, and then somebody's gonna punch you one that's gonna be low, perfect for you, Kool-Aid. You can do your magic then. But I do think Bond. We could do Bond back there. I think Bond's good. He's explosive enough. I like Kendrick Law. I think Kendrick Law is one of those players. He can't get enough touches in my book. Like I said, he's like a Debo Samuel in my book. Just give this guy touches, whether it's receiver, running back, whatever. This guy can't get enough touches. So I won't mind him being back there at punt return because he was a really good kickoff returner too. Like he sees the hole and go. He runs. So so yeah, like I said, I think Kool-Aid can just get his confidence back just by having great technique, feeling the punt, seeing the punt, and then going from there, because I don't want us to lose those precious yardages by letting the ball just dribble another 10, 5, 10, 15 yards. Just feel the punt, just catch it, fair catch it. If you can just fair catch it, I mean, that keeps us in a lot of good, field position situations where we don't lose yardage. Oh, a lot of Kool-Aid talk on here, man. Wow, I'm trying to say much bad about Kool-Aid, but he needs to do something this weekend, or I'm ready to move on to Jungle Juice. Listen, I'll say this about Kool-Aid. What y'all might be seeing, Terry Arnold, Downs, all the other guys getting love, but listen, he's locking down majority of the top receiver during the games. He's a lot of times a 10. Now he might not have shown it in interceptions like the other players, but he's locking down. I think this would be a great game for Kool-Aid to kind of, get confidence and filling the punts in second half of the season. Then B, locking down and really working on getting some of these, Jay Daniels might try you. They got a lot of weapons, whether it's, Brian Thomas, Neighbors, Anderson, I think Lacey, the tight end. Listen, they're going to try him, especially in certain areas, certain down and distances. So, like you said, I think this is a statement. Kool-Aid can make a lot of noise, especially the whole secondary from Trey Amos, Earl Little, Kool-Aid, Key, Malachi Moore, Downs. I think these guys are looking to be making some things. So, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I just think Kool-Aid just got to get confidence, having near leg, near shoulder, just catching it in his bread basket, seeing the ball off the punt, just getting confident in it. I think he can line up at the correct distance too. I don't think teams are punting away from it. It seems like he's right there. He's seeing it, but at the last minute, he's, calling Peter instead of just running up and catching it. So hopefully during the bye week, Kool-Aid ironed out some of those issues. Let's see. Great comment right here. It says, bring in Haynes on plays where Miro moves the pocket and dump it off to Haynes. Yeah. I think we try to do some things versus Tennessee, maybe not tight end screens, running back screens. Like I said, we've been dangling nuggets every now and then, but I think There's so many plays out there that are simple but effective. I just think running a lot more pistol, everything will have to be shotgun. I think our formation would do just wonders because not that many teams run our formation. Running, rolling out, moving, play action. You can do a lot there. So hopefully Tommy Reese gets it. So yeah, to my point earlier, yeah, Miro has been slacking on faking him. I watched film with Teague and Lassick. They saw it too. Yeah, I think he's trying to do what Bryce Young. Bryce Young really didn't carry out the fakes, when he was here at Bama. And so I think Miro picked up on that bad habit of just standing there and handing the ball off when, I think he's more of an effective runner more so than Bryce Young. So I think it's important for him to really carry out that play fake because a lot of teams, that's why the running game is not being effective. I mean, he's being the leader. You're the go-to guy. You got to take those little things and really carry out that play fake. I think Tommy Reese needs to be telling him that. Coach Saban needs to be killing them out. Carry out the play fake. Do a great acting job because that opens up so much in the offense. Like, let's say you hand it or you hand it off and you play fake, and we notice you keep pulling the safety each play, and we're breaking runs left and right. Now we can you can hold it, maybe fake it, run a pass play. It's so many things you can do just by continuing to be carry that play fake out. So Miro, if you're on there watching Football University, man, carry out your play fakes, brother. You got to do it, man. That's going to separate. It's always those little things that separate the great quarterbacks from elite quarterbacks. So Miro, we're confident in you. We want you to go out there and do it. But man, carry out those play fakes, brother. Carla Hinton says, yeah, Miro's legs are a dangerous weapon as well. They are. So yeah, let's y'all are rocking and rolling in the still section. Bama's added more wrinkles in the offense. We got players there on fans' radars. Yeah. I think second half season is starting to get colder. I think you're gonna see more guys like Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, those type of guys. Justice Haynes is gonna be getting the we're gonna be looking to ice games. We're gonna be looking to run the ball, control the clock. So we got a second half to really Justice Haynes can really get in his bag. Hopefully he's like super healthy. But yeah, the guy's just ultra talented. So we're gonna need these guys moving forward to lean on, especially even on the defensive end. I mentioned the defensive line. Tim Smith, Demond Payne, the big 5-star out of Montgomery. He's good. I saw him get in the Mississippi State game. He's a stud. So we're going to be leading on some of those guys to really be effective. Brian Green says, it would scare me if I was a D coordinator. So shouts out. Let's take a pause. Let's go to my next topic. Let's talk about, so tomorrow is Coach Saban's birthday. Wow, Coach Saban will be, I believe, 73. Born on Halloween. That's got to be cool. So I just want to say shouts out to Coach Saban on his birthday. And I think he said today, I don't think he wants his Alabama to play well versus LSU. This game means a lot. I think it's personal for him, especially with some of the things Brian Kelly has been saying the past couple of years. Even in the offseason, he always just kept mentioning Alabama. I'm like, listen, you're at LSU. Like, it's more, you got a lot. Why do you keep mentioning Alabama? So, Coach Saban's kept it professional, but I think internally he's going to be motivated to not only win the game, but I think he wants to be dominant. I think he wants to make a statement, be dominant for Alabama on his birthday. I think that's what he wants for his birthday. So shouts out to Coach Saban. I don't know how you keep doing it, man. You keep staying young, we won't Mean Saban. Chew him out on Saturday. I don't care if we're up by 100 points. Chew him out. Chew him out. We love Mean Saban. Miss Terry. Shouts out to Miss Terry Saban. She's part of the GOAT conversation. She needs a statue in Tuscaloosa. Excuse me as well. So let's get to my next topic. We talked about Coach Saban's birthday. Let's talk about Bama in the NFL. So, last week we had Jalen versus Tua. This week we had Tua versus Mac. The Patriots versus the Dolphins. Mac looked, he didn't look bad. He just doesn't have any help. But Tua, he's doing his thing. I think they put up 31 points versus the Patriots. So shouts out to Tua. I think they got to go they go to Frankfurt, Germany, I believe, on Sunday. So Sunday morning, this Sunday will be at 9:30. You can watch some football before you go to church or whatever you want to do. So that'll be a kickoff in Germany. They'll be playing the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. That game's going to mean a lot, especially with Tyreek Hill being a former Chief. But I think this is going to figure out who's going to be top of the AFC. I believe if the Dolphins win, they'll be 7-2. I think they'll be the number one seed in the AFC. So a lot is riding on this game. I think this will be a good statement game for Tua. Speaking of the Chiefs, they're kind of reeling. They didn't have Taylor Swift in attendance, and they looked pretty bad playing the Denver Broncos. They lost to the Denver Broncos on Sunday. Patrick Surtain and the defense, they always give Patrick Mahomes a tough outing, but they're going to be coming off of a loss, so it's going to be interesting to see, those who battle it out in Frankfurt, Germany. But I want to shout out Bryce Young. Bryce Young, he played in the battle of the number one picks. It was Bryce versus CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud versus Bryce, and there was a lot of controversy. We know the Houston Texans had the number 2 pick, led by DeMeco Ryans. Shouts out to DeMeco Ryans. And the Carolina Panthers had the number 1 pick, and there was a lot of back and forth. People saying, "Oh, they should have got Stroud. Oh, they should have drafted Bryce." Bryce Young started off the beginning of the season not as hot as CJ Stroud, but I do believe CJ Stroud has a little bit more, stability. He's got, Laramie Tunsil, offensive line. I think he's got more of a better defense. He's got more help, more so than Bryce Young. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, CJ Stroud should have went number 1." I'm like, no, you got to look at the whole story. Bryce Young just doesn't have any help. So there's a lot going into this game. The battle of the number 1s up there is Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, and the Panthers. Bryce Young, one thing, Frank Wright, I believe he relieved himself of offensive play calling duties, and he let Thomas Brown, the young up-and-coming offensive mind, call plays. And he called a great game, especially that last drive to get them in the right plays. Bryce Young, he might not have carried the play fake throughout the game, but he carried the play fake on the last drive, and they got to keep first down. So, Miro, if you're watching the show, carry the play fakes, bro. Those are little things that's going to help you. But shouts out to Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers getting that first victory. I know it meant so much for Bryce Young to do it on his good friend, CJ Stroud. A lot of people were saying how CJ Stroud, could have been there. And it was just good for the Carolina Panthers to get that victory for Bryce Young. So, Bryce Young, we're proud of you at Football University. Let's talk about Bryce Young. Jalen Hurts. Shouts out to Julio Jones, man. Got a big touchdown for in the Commanders-Eagles game. The Philadelphia Eagles still continue to stack wins. That's why I say it's important for Alabama to continue to stack wins. Devontae Smith had a touchdown. Julio Jones had a touchdown. I think Jalen Hurts had a really funny message after the game, saying he would never thought he'd be throwing a touchdown to Julio Jones. So Julio Jones still got it. The Eagles, the tush push is still unstoppable. They ran a jet sweep out of it. So it's a lot they're doing. Shouts out to Hurts, shouts out to Devontae. Eli Riggs had a pretty good game. I know on the Commanders side, Fedarian Mathis played. I think he had a fumble recovery. Obviously, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, all those Bama guys up front. So, pretty interesting to see. We talked about seeing the Titans in the uniforms are crazy to me. I think that Tennessee, it's certain NFL teams, I think they need to make their throwbacks, their permanent uniforms. The Miami Dolphins, for one, I think they need to make their throwbacks permanent. And the Tennessee Titans, man, that powder blue with the Houston Oilers bringing up shades of Earl Campbell, Warren Moon. those throwbacks were sweet. And speaking of number one picks, Will Levis, I was not expecting him to throw 4 TDs versus the Falcons. I know we got a lot of Falcons fans out there. Shouts out to all the Falcons fans, rise up. But man, um, listen, those powdered blues, and they started Will Levis, man. Will Levis had himself a day, so got to give him kudos. I wasn't expecting to see that. I mean, he's got the deep ball accuracy. He kind of reminds me of like a Josh Allen type, but man, he was in his bag. And Derrick Henry had a big game. He had about 100 yards or so rushing. I think he had a TD. So, man, those Houston Oilers uniforms are sweet. Gotta say, shouts out to that. So, let's go to the student section. Carla Henderson says, did y'all see Coach Saban run back across the field and thank the fans? This guy's in great shape. Yeah, he is. I think Coach Saban just loves being at Alabama, love coaching the University of Alabama, him and Miss Terry. And, he called on the fans to be effective. And, we're going to need the fans to be effective versus LSU. We're going to have the noise. We're going to have to be effective. And he just wanted to go out there and thank the fans after he got his cigar. So, he's still young. He's one of the youngest, oldest guys I've ever seen. I don't know how he does it, but he's so young. So shouts out to Coach Saban. He's going to want the fans to come out there and be effective just as loud as they were in versus Tennessee. And I heard Brian Denning is crazy loud. So if you go into the game, listen, let's be loud. Let's be rowdy, especially when they're on offense. We need to affect these guys. Just need to affect them during the game. So for sure. Let's see. Let's go to the section. So great comment right there. Shouts out to William Bryan in the building. RTR. Van Edwards says, speaking of the NFL, I got an extremely hot take. What is it, Van Edwards? What is your hot take? Oh, do you think Kyle Shanahan is overrated? I'm not gonna say he's overrated because I do think Kyle Shanahan is offensive genius. But since we got a lot of Falcons fans on here, and I know the Falcons hate to talk about the darkest moment in their history, when they played in the Super Bowl and they were up 28-3 versus the Patriots, guess who the offensive coordinator was? Kyle Shanahan. When Kyle Shanahan has maybe a 7-point lead in the second half, a lot of times he doesn't win the game. I think statistically he is owing some change. So, I mean, you could make the argument that he's overrated, but I don't think he's overrated. I just think he has a really, really good team. He's always had a really good defense. And he's got a really good front office. John Lynch, you got somebody, a former player that knows how to, spend money, evaluate talent. So he's really had a really good defense. And offensively, when you got a front office that knows how to get players, evaluate talent, that helps the coach, and he's able to implement his system. Now, when I see Brock Purdy, I think the biggest mistake Kyle Shanahan did was he listened to all the people talk negatively about Mike Jones at number 3 when he should have had Mac Jones at number 3. Because when I look at Brock Purdy, only thing that reminds me, I'm like, if he would have drafted Mac Jones, he would have an even better offensive brand, more so than Brock Purdy, because that's what Mac Jones does. Mac Jones in that Kyle Shanahan system would have been unstoppable. I'm just showing that just shows you how good Mac is in that system. And I think Kyle Shanahan listened to the naysayers and went with Trey Lance, and that got him in a lot of hot water because people were saying, because Mac Jones combine, they were saying, oh, he didn't look all that great. But the New England Patriots sat there, Josh McDaniels took him, they were glad he was one of the top offensive rookies that year, So listen, whenever I see Brock Purdy, I think, man, Shanahan, if only he would have stuck to his guns and drafted, Mac Jones at number 3. Maybe he didn't have to get him at number 3. Maybe he could have traded back, but Trey Lance did not work out for him. So yeah, I think, he has his moments where he's overrated, but it's a lot of times, I'm not gonna say overrated. I think that's such an extreme word, but it's a lot of times where, he's had the lead and he hasn't fared well. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's able to match up, but in the NFL, so many teams know how to game plan for other teams. So you got to be creative. You got to be able to make things happen. So I like how he uses Deebo Samuels. He'll put him at running back. They made a good playoff run. So I don't think he's overrun it. He's won the NFC West. He's been the number one team. Right now, they're kind of going through a shaky period, but that's just part of playing football. That's why I said Alabama's got to stack wins each week or stack wins 1-0 because it's playing in the NFL is like playing the SEC. You got to stack your wins no matter what. So I don't think he's overrated, but I can see where you can make the argument statistically in certain areas where you can make the argument that he's overrated. So that hopefully that answers your question. Van Edwards. Oh yeah, to my point, Van Edwards brought it, man. He's offensive genius, but he's 0-30 when he's down by 5, 0-37 when down by 8 or more. Also, when teams double Kittle, he can't scheme his way out of it. Yeah, like I said, listen. I like it. That's what I said. I think he's a great offensive mind. I just think he's got to have all the pieces in place. Like he's got to have a Deebo, he's got to have a Kittle, he's got to have a running back. He's got to have a Christian McCaffrey. He's got to have his quarterback that knows how to do it. And he probably needs one more big-time receiver. Maybe they look at a Jerry Jeudy. He needs a deep ball threat. Even when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, he had Julio Jones. So, I just think he needs his pieces in place. But I'm not going to knock him for his creativity. That's why I like Mike McDaniels. I feel like Mike McDaniels, he's able to scheme schematically, get players in the right place. So, Joe Saban says the 49ers defense is not playing what they were. Dallas seems like they would stop the run, but I know they need to try to fix it first. Yeah, the Cowboys, say what you want to say, man. The Cowboys might be the biggest threat for in that NFC. To the Eagles. They got to go back to, I think they go to Dallas. I don't know. Dallas looked good. They beat the Rams. They look really, really good. B. Jammin has a great comment right here. It says, man, I had a nightmare the other night. I was stuck on a boat with Skip Bayless and Paul Feinbaum. Oh, man, I would love, that's hilarious. That is too funny. Debo's out. We need Debo. That's what I'm saying. They're not the same. That's what I said. Shanahan needs his pieces in place in order for him to be effective. They do need a QB. I don't think Brock Purdy's a long-term answer. I think teams are noticing him, especially with certain players that are out his tendencies. Their offensive line, Cincinnati Bengals yesterday just put on an absolute clinic versus San Francisco 49ers. So, yeah. Van Edwards. Shouts out to Van Edwards. He says, yeah, they have Mercedes with hubcaps on. So SEC is the NFL junior. You know how it is. It's how it is in SEC. Just like NFL, you got to be able to stack up wins. SEC, you got to stack up wins. So we're going to end it right there. We're going to end it right there on the RTR. So listen, Alabama, go out there. We're pulling for you. Go out there and be dominant. 60 minutes. It's time for us to be part of the season, impose our will. Enjoy football this weekend. Like I said, Tua, Chiefs playing early Sunday morning, so you can watch them before church. Enjoy the holiday season and whatnot. We're getting close to Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. So all the Bama fans, RTR, enjoy football this week. All the SEC fans, I think Tom Reed's a Georgia fan, Stephen Hicks, Stapleton, Van Edwards, Justin Summerlin, Carla Hinton, Linda P., William Bryant, Lori Caddell, Van Edwards. Shouts out to the student section. You guys rock and roll. I am James Knox. Y'all got the real MVPs. Come back next week where we talk more college football, more NFL football, because we do it all here at Football University. Same time, same channel. See you next week. Enjoy the weekend.